Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again with another Wuthering Waves Mornye video. And the topic of today is going to be the fact that she probably has the best sequence node in the game, without a doubt. I think it's pretty much confirmed right now. Her sequence node, S1, the Silent Observer, is absolutely, completely, ridiculously fucking cracked. And let me just explain to you why. One of the biggest weaknesses of Mournye's kit is the fact that her interfered marker is a selective buff. It's got some restrictions with it. And what I mean by that is the fact that if enemies don't have Tune Rupture or Tune Strained on them, she doesn't have access to the only other damage buff in her kit other than her outro skill, this 40% over here. And you're seeing over here, it scales with her ER. They take this additional damage. It's awesome, right? You love when this effect occurs. But in the current state of the game, without this S1, you need Lene on your team to actually activate it. And you feel this a lot when you don't have it actually up. This unit is not better than Verena. She's comparable to a Verena and definitely worse than Shorekeeper if you don't have access to this. And what her S1 does is it basically removes that restriction completely. S1 Mornye, without a doubt, is a better unit than Shorekeeper. S1 Mornye is without a doubt better than an S1 Shorekeeper. Is she better than an S2 Shorekeeper? I don't necessarily know, but that's the thing. For the price of one sequence node, you're getting a better unit than Shorekeeper. But the thing is, the design of this one's a little bit wonky. So let's go ahead and talk about what her S1 actually does beyond removing that restriction. It extends the duration of this marker by 50% as well. Normally, it only lasts for 8 seconds. Do you know what that means? That means that to get the full benefit of this damage increase, you would need a DPS rotation that's less than 8 seconds. There's almost no DPS rotation less than 8 seconds in the game. And so oftentimes, this damage bonus, even if you were using Mornye with a Lene who can apply all these effects, it would run out in the middle of your DPS's rotation. And so this S1 not only A, grants the damage increase regardless of whether or not Lene is on your team, it also extends the duration of the damage increase massively by 50%. And that means more uptime on them taking all this damage. That's pretty good, as you can imagine. And this is the craziest part. Mornye is also going to have even more uptime on this effect in multi-wave as well. This makes her so much stronger in Whimpering Waste, it's absolutely insane. And this is why. So Mornye essentially has a mechanic in her kit where she gets this thing called the Divining Eye. When a Resonator in the team defeats a target inflicted with an observation marker or an interfered marker, she gains visual field. And while in this state, she inflicts an observation marker on target's hit whenever somebody deals damage. That means that, oh, she kills somebody, right? With this big mark that she's doing her entire rotation for to trigger, then the mark will spread. Which is like a good reward, right? Because this is what Mornye needs to do to actually trigger that mark in the first place, right? She's got to do her ground rotation, get up into the air, and then, of course, right, actually trigger a bunch of these attacks. And then, well, I might as well just have some enemies for me to attack real fast. I can just show you. So Mornye's first got to go ahead, right? Enter this mode. Then she has to spend all this sweet-ass time building up her forte to trigger this attack. And that is the attack that marks enemies. And so, after she marks an enemy, she gives them something called an observation marker. And after an enemy that is observed gets tune broken, that's when she applies the interference marker. And that would only last for 8 seconds. As you can see over here, at S0, we've got to kind of like do some work, right? We got to make sure that we use this attack. And that will make that observation marker become an interfered one that makes them take more damage if Lene's on the team. But this is the thing, guys. What Mournye's S1 does is it makes it so that whenever you simply apply an observation marker, you also create an interfered one. And that interfered one retains the additional duration. This basically means that Mornye in the past, before her S1, right, would need to first apply the marker, then her team needs to tomb break the enemy to get the damage bonus. This just gives you the damage bonus for the damage bonus just from using her kit. Do you see how this is broken, even if you have Lene on the team? Because this means you're basically getting full uptime on that 40% damage bonus throughout your entire team's rotation, taking the duration from 8 to 14 seconds, and then also basically applying it immediately so that you don't have to tomb break the enemy. Because you want to know what's going to end up happening? She applies that interfered mark, they're taking the extra damage, and then her team will tomb break the enemy again and refresh the marker's duration and basically make it permanent. Do you want me to tell you how I know that? Because we can just test out the team in the TOA and show you how that would work. Let's notice when this enemy gets toon broken on this team, because that's when we normally get our damage bonus. And I'll show you when you get the damage bonus at S1. At S1, we have the damage bonus. It is on Crownless at S1. And it's going to be active for the next 20 seconds here. However, because we're not at S1, we don't have it. So you see over here? No damage bonus still. And now the damage bonus activates. And it also only lasts 8 seconds. Do you see where the restrictions are currently from how I've been showing you? If we had our S1, this is what we would have done. We would have triggered the damage bonus immediately, right? We would basically trigger it right here. But instead, we don't have it, right? And now we gotta wait until Lene's rotation. Hopefully, we get the tomb break off when we need it, right? Oh dear, I might have messed up. And you see here, we got the tomb break. And that's when we get the damage bonus. But as you saw, right, that took a while to actually have up, and it had limited uptime because it was only lasting 8 seconds. So it didn't even last for the Uno's whole rotation. It fell off halfway through. This S1 is extending the duration. And so it's making it almost like function properly, even in the Toon teams. And this is why I have a lot of issues with how this thing works. It just makes her a stronger character, even in the teams where her restrictions are on. It's not like this S1 removes her restrictions, right? And just makes her a normal unit beyond that. It removes her restrictions and then makes the existing effect longer. It makes the existing effect easier to activate. And makes it so that your DPS has longer uptime with this 40% additional damage taken buff. And the end result is that it makes all of her teams deal more damage. I'm going to make this take. The character is already strong enough at S0, right? In her in her Lene teams. This makes her even stronger, which I guess is good because it's a sequence node. But then it's also removing, again, all of the restrictions. And so I talked to you, right, about all of the issues that you had with Mornye even when you were using Lene. Now you just don't have to worry about anything, and you're going to have full uptime on all of these effects. I would dare say maybe like the only real issue over here is that like, let me just read her S1 one last time because I think there's only one thing I can imagine. Mornye applies an observation marker, interfered marker. No, yeah, you don't need to have a specific type of tomb break on them. It's just any tomb break damage will turn an observation marker into an interfered marker. So, yeah, this makes it so that that Lene deficiency, that Lene requirement that she has, it's completely removed. And then the effect also lasts stronger and is faster to activate. Let me just show you the damage difference that a Mornye S1 is actually going to do. Mornye's S1 is extremely easy to get in this game because you could just buy it from the coral shop. And that's the thing. 360 pulls or 360 corals is not hard to get. It's really easy. And it's not a lot either. It's the equivalent of, it's 45 pulls. And if you're willing to give up 45 pulls, which is less than you would spend just pulling her S1, because you might lose 50-50 and stuff, it's not even hard to get this. Free-to-play players can get this with ease. You could actually reasonably expect people to, like, have S1 Mornye by default because of how she works. I will be using Mornye in a team where she doesn't actually have access to this buff. And then I'll activate her sequence node, and then I'll show you how it works. Now, let's do the comparisons over here. And this is going to be a traditional mono fusion team in the new meta that Mornye has introduced. It's going to be quite strong. Just do our attacks over here, get that heavy attack going, and then just spam basics until... well, until she's ready to go. So now we've marked the enemies, right? We're gonna get no damage buffs in this team from her anymore. And the reason for that is very simple. That 40% damage buff, that is the only buff Mornye has in her kit outside of her 25% all damage amp outro skill. So even if I like Tomb Break over here, do all this stuff, it's functionally not really gonna be that useful for me. I'm not going to deal any, like, additional damage or, like, you know, do any of that stuff. It's just going to be regular toon damage, no other damage buffs. But as you can see, this thing is killing Crownless in basically 2 rotations. It's a good team. Very, very, very strong. But this is the thing. Her S1 is going to turn this team into an absolute fucking monstrosity. But as you can see, this one gets a really, really great time. This floor 4 of the TOA is also giga overtuned. So just being able to clear at a time like this by itself, and I got kind of grief there, but you get it. That was basically like a 2:55, 3-minute clear. Around that range, right? 2:55, 3 minutes on that clear. Now, let's see what it looks like when we activate the sequence node. Are you guys ready? We've got that past footage. It'll be immortalized.
Precision calibration.
Are y'all ready?
Combat efficiency. All green.
All right, let's do it. So, that's going to be Mornye's S1. Now let's see what the damage difference is. Bought her S1 from the coral shop and activated it. That's all we did. Okay, okay, sorry. I don't use Mornye's regular resonance skill. Okay, don't use Mornye's regular resonance skill. Okay, don't use Mornye's...
Command mode engaged. All units fire.
And our damage buff is up. Let's see this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just see where his HP is at the end of this first rotation. Let's see. Are you guys ready? Huh. Oh, that seems like quite a lot more, isn't it? Oh, yeah, that's quite a lot, isn't it? Yeah. Weren't we, like, not there? Yeah, that's what I meant. This thing is not... It's almost unethical. It looks like... Do you guys see what I'm talking about when I said this thing is broken? It's just simply not balanced. Oh man, I even like messed up over here. Oh, that's fine. Oh, I kind of like...
control. Access confirmed. Processing to authorize.
It's scary? Yeah, it should be.
Structural burn to dust.
It should be scary. This is... And the thing is, right, it's a sequence node. So it's like, I don't really have any real issues with it feeling, like, ridiculous. But it's also like, man, does it set a new expectation for, like, what Mornye should even have, like, before you, like, if you're gonna pull her? Because it's so easy to get, it, like, do you see already? Like, I'll just let her finish it. Yes, you're broken. Boom. Right? You're 170k. Awesome. You realize that is without any TOA buffs? Do you realize that is without any TOA buffs? There's nothing benefiting this clear. We don't have shields. We don't have this. Like, there's nothing, bro. That's the thing. And then her own S1, guys, also buffs her own damage. That 40% additional damage take, that shit is like helping out her nuke on S1. So she's hitting almost 200k in that team. This is what I'm saying over here. This is the most unbalanced S1 I think I've ever seen. But it's not even like balanced in a predatory way because everyone can get this because you just need to buy corals. Or you just need to use corals in the coral shop and you have it. And it's not even like you need to go to S2 to make it this strong. Her S2 already gives her some other shit, like, you know, a lot of crit. But I guess the thing is that it's 100% power creep. Because when you get this S1, she is undoubtedly better than Shorekeeper in every single Shorekeeper team. But at S0, Mornye is way worse than Shorekeeper unless you have Lupa or Linné on her team already. But the biggest winner that I can clearly see from this situation is Lupa. If you decide to pull Mornye's S1. Because Mourn is already viable with Lupa without this S1. Her viability, though, becomes like best in slot, disgusting, broken monstrosity with Lupa, though. Because you're combining this with all of Lupa's fusion damage buffs from her set as well. And then her kit with fusion resistance down as one of the fucking passives. And then you have all this extra damage on top, which you never have access to in the Lupa team unless you pull this. Brother, the synergies and the stuff, it simply doesn't feel balanced. And this is the thing. Mornye, with her S1, does not feel balanced at all. It does not feel balanced at all. And you can probably easily pull it yourself if you want to. But is this good for the game? I don't think so. I think the biggest issue that I have with this sequence node is the fact that it makes her Linné teams noticeably better. The fact that it makes her Linné teams actually feel noticeably better by having way more uptime, I don't really like it that much. Her easy accessibility also almost begs the question of, if it's on her S1, why isn't it just in her base kit in the first place? Wanna try her with Linné? Guys, it's not gonna help out the Linné team a crazy, ridiculous amount. But basically what it's gonna do over here, right, is have that uptime basically be permanent across the entire team's rotation. Think about it this way. In this team before Mournye's S1, Linné and Mourn sometimes would not have uptime on that 40% additional damage buff. With Mournye's S1, everybody on this team is going to have a permanent 40% damage bonus. Before that, maybe only a certain percentage of the time, right? But with her S1, it's full uptime. And as you saw, all three of these units are capable of a decent amount of on-field damage. Mornye herself, right, can nuke up to 100k with her S1, even without having monofusion on the team. And that's just kind of like where I feel like the balance starts falling apart. Because good golly gee, I don't think her S1 needed to be that strong. Because I think this is going to set a new standard, unfortunately, and I can't even blame the community for wanting to set that standard of expecting Mornye to be S1 if she's on your account. The last thing I'll say when it comes to Mornye and the power of her S1 in her Linné teams, where she already was able to get this damage bonus. The power of this S1, guys, is the fact that it's increasing the duration. Think about it this way. Once again, the interfered marker only lasts 8 seconds at a baseline. Rotations in this game by a DPS typically last 13 to 14 seconds. This means that it is basically impossible for you to have this damage bonus up for the entire uptime of your DPS's rotation. Mornye's S1 guarantees that it has full uptime. I am just hoping that Kuro Games does not balance any of the content in the game around you having a Mourn S1. Because this is the thing. Like I said before, a Mourn S1 is going to be the best support for a majority of teams in the game. The best one. And if it suddenly becomes, hey, this content is like really hard unless you have Mournye's S1, then that's going to be a bit of a rough decision as well. And the hilarious, ridiculous, absurd thing is, guys, Mournye's S1 is so valuable, it's better than her signature. If you had a choice between her signature or S1, you want her fucking S1. It's better. It's better. That's going to be our video about Mournye's S1. Definitely feel free to go ahead and grab it, test it out for yourself, and just confirm that it is fucking broken. But that's just how it works. Just wanted to make sure that we address it up front. Hopefully, it doesn't lead to any crazy shit going down as the game, you know, kind of progresses further. But just wanted to educate all of you on, well, the craziest new nuke that, like, she's literally got nukes, right? She's got nukes in her kit. The newest nuke that Wuthering Waves has added to the game. But at least it's not in her S0 kit. That'll be that for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all thought about this character, and peace out.